Oh, this is Barry O'Connell, and I'm doing a special program this time called Maryland in Crisis. Normally, I try and pick out good things that are going on. This time, we've got some areas that bear closer examination. The question for some people right now is heat or groceries. It's an ugly thing. Some guys have decided that they have the right to screw with other people's electrical charges. Bottom right, Malcolm Augustine, District 47. That's the Cheverly Bladensburg area, um, just outside of D.C. He got involved with a bill to allow BGE to massively increase his rates. And here's the problem, or it's not bad for his voters because all his voters are Pepco. He doesn't have any BGE constituents. So he's raising the rates on other people in other areas. We had a similar thing happen in Charles County. And guys like Brian Crosby and Malcolm Augustine feel that they could just take money from lobbyists to do any damn thing they want, and they could get away with it because they're not muddying up things in their district. Well, these are really, really bad people. And both of them should be primaried in 26. When you look at them standing, you know, in their pictures smiling at you as if they're sincere and warm and friendly. Take a look at the mother in the center. That's kind of what we're up against. There are mothers in Maryland. Okay, heard from somebody I know and trust. In fact, somebody who ran for governor, so it's a pretty solid source. The bill last year, a year ago, was for $300 for her home for heating. This time it's $500. Think about what that means to the average person. Now, my friend who ran into that, I'm sure she doesn't enjoy paying it, but she can pay it, you know? But there's other people who have to take a look at how low can you set the heat before the kids get sick? Can Granny afford to get out of bed because the apartment's so cold? I mean, this is critical stuff because these people know that if they turn the heat up, the bill comes due, and then they either have to pay it or it gets shut off. And that's a crisis for many people. That's what, when I talk about Maryland in crisis, it's not so much the budget crisis, they'll fix that. But a cold mother and babies, that's a crisis. And it's caused by guys like Malcolm Augustine and Brian Crosby. You know, they took the money, they passed the laws, they screwed the people, and they're smiling and happy in their nice warm homes, and they don't even give a damn about the people they caused to suffer. That's a despicable thing. You know me. I'm a Democrat. I don't back Republicans. I don't like Republican laws. I don't want Republicans to get a win. But this time, I have to say, yeah, the Republicans are right on this one. House Bill 651. This would add additional seats to the Public Service Commission. See, the power companies are supposed to propose their rate increases, and then the Public Service Commission has to figure out whether it's right and fair and appropriate. Okay. The Public Service Commission has become a rubber stamp for the power companies. They just take anything that BGE or the others pass through, stamp it okay. Well, at the risk of giving the Republicans a win, now's the time. Call your legislators, call your delegates, and I'm sure there's a corresponding Senate bill. But HB 651, Public Service Commission membership, it's about time to do it. We can't afford to let see when one group controls everything, and then some of its members sell out and take the lobbyist money. And these guys, I don't want to say they're taking envelopes full of cash, but I think they're probably taking envelopes full of cash. I mean, that's sort of what we see. Remember that guy from up in District 41, the state senator who used to talk about lollipops? Every lollipop was $1,000, and he'd say that, he thought this bill was worth about 5 lollipops. Well, I wonder how many lollipops Malcolm Augustine is getting. You know, sanctimonious son of a bitch selling out the people and hurting children. And when it starts hurting children and our seniors, that's a problem. And I'm going to keep talking about this until we get Malcolm and Brian out of office. Okay, I'll calm down a little bit. Good news. Senator Dahlia Attar was sworn into the Senate seat. She's replacing Jill Carter. It's a really good thing. I want you to know something. Senator Dahlia Attar is an Orthodox Jewish woman. And when she was just a delegate, she was the senior most Orthodox Jewish woman elected to office in the United States, and now she's a state senator. I think that's really good news. I think we should take joy in that. You know, it's a good thing. I was in her district. I like her. She's a good person. Oh, excuse me. When I lived in Baltimore, I voted for her. Now, you got to understand, she's got um, the part that butts right up against Pikesville. So inside the city, you've got District 41 up between Pimlico and the city line. Um, that's where she's from. And then you get Pikesville. Let's talk about Pikesville a little bit. Baltimore County Councilman Izzy, who's right across the border from her. Um, he's all upset about immigration, and he's saying that he's a son of Holocaust survivors, and he wants to support immigrants, and then he tells everybody to call Casa. Is it Casa or Casa? Well, I'm just going to say what I say. And he's pushing their raid hotline, building them up. Well, you know something? Gustavo Torres, the president, the boss, the head of Casa, um, about a year ago, he appeared in public protesting against Israel with signs that said, "From the river to the sea." Well, let me translate that for you. "From the river to the sea" is a slogan from Hamas, and what it means is kill all the Jews from the river, Jordan. Where Jesus was baptized, to the Mediterranean. That's the one that goes up around Israel and Syria and Turkey and Italy and out on Spain. I mean, that big area. Kill all the Jews from the river to the sea. Izzy, what are you thinking of? Why would you support a group that wants to kill all the Jews in Israel? Dear goodness, I support immigrant rights and I don't want to see raids happen. But I'm just shaking my head. I'm disappointed in you, Izzy. I'm very disappointed in you. Let's talk about somebody else I'm disappointed in, Sharonda Huffman. Um, the map on the right, well, now they're saying that's not the official map. Sharonda thought it was the official map. It's not the official map. They're going to redraw the lines because of the vote. I, you know, they do what they do. Um, but the councilmen are now telling people, at least one councilman, according to her, are telling people not to vote for Sharonda. Well, I could kind of understand that. She's sorority sisters with a pretty sketchy candidate down in Prince George's County who's running for county executive. And I've been telling the truth about her sorority sister, and she called me up and threatened me and yelled at me at work. She called me at work during business hours to yell at me. If she treats everybody like that, I can easily see why politicians in Baltimore County are pulling away from Sharonda and saying, not now, not you, not this time. It is what it is. As ye sow, so shall ye reap. Let's talk about Prince George's County, starting upper right. We've got a pretty sketchy candidate named Aisha Brave Boy. Aisha pulling some fast stuff. We'll talk a little bit more about some of the things she's pulling. But she's been making her conviction rate looks better by letting people go. Yeah, you heard me right. She lets people go. Violent criminals, she lets them go. Carjackers, she lets them go. What she found out was that she can get really impressive numbers, 90% conviction rate, as long as she takes all the tough cases and lets them go. Somebody robs, somebody steals, somebody carjacks, she just puts them back on the street so they can do it again because she doesn't want to mess up her conviction rate. The only cases she's taking are guilty pleas, slam dunk easy ones where it's not going to be a big battle. And then the highly publicized profile, the high profile cases where she has to take them, where it's too publicly known. She can't let the person go. She doesn't even give him a slap on the wrist. She just lets him go. That's the kind of person she is. The heck is wrong with that woman? And she wants a great conviction rate. Well, why doesn't she? Well, she should have actually worked harder. She was an HOA attorney until she ran for state's attorney. She did things like people get citations for their grass being too high, or they didn't take their Christmas lights down quick enough. And those were the cases she handled. And then she gets in there and she lets violent criminals go. That's dangerous. And then right below her, we have a violent criminal, but nobody let him go. He spent what, 5 years in jail? 5 years in prison? Um, I said 40 years, but actually it's 43 years of armed robbery, drug dealing, womanizing, woman assaulting, taking illegal campaign contributions, and much, much more. Oh, the drug dealing. I forgot to mention the drug dealing. I mean, this guy, people were saying, well, we should give him a second chance. Oh, Calvin's reformed. We should give him a second chance. Well, we gave him a second chance and a third chance and a fourth chance, and he just keeps taking these chances. He's got 43 years of screwing up and second chances, and there's no indication that he's going to stop this anytime soon. And now he wants to be county executive. Give me a break. Take the AWASH campaign contribution. He's allowed to take up to $6,000 in a campaign cycle from one contributor. Just $6,000. Three of the primary, three in the general. So what does Calvin do? He took 9,000. What does he figure? He's just going to take the money, and if he gets a um, dinged for it or a citation, or if they fine him, he'll just pay it. But he's got the extra money. See, that's the kind of guy Calvin is. He wants it, he takes it. He feels like it, he does it. He stuck guns in people's faces and took their money. Have you ever had a gun stuck in your face? Do you understand what an incredibly insulting and dehumanizing, horrible experience that is for people? And Calvin just thought, oh, well, I can do it. And then he got caught. He paid his time. He gets out. He goes to work for Jack Johnson, convicted felon Jack Johnson. Oh, I'm not supposed to mention Jack's convicted felon. Well, he's a convicted felon. And this guy goes to work for him, and he assaults the woman in his office. He's grabbing her, kissing her, you know, fondling her, and he never apologized. He never apologized. County had to pay a six-figure settlement, but Calvin never apologized. And the woman's still mad about it. Every once in a while, some reporter interviews her, and she's still mad about what Calvin did to her. And I don't blame her. A black queen should not be assaulted in her office by a guy like Calvin. And then let's go to I don't want to rail and rant all night. Let's go to the lower left-hand corner. We've got Calv, Rusher and Baker. Like, look, Baker was a delegate. He ran against Jack Johnson twice and he lost. Jack went to prison. Baker ran and won twice. Then he gets out and he ran for governor twice and lost. The second time he ran, he had trouble raising money. Very difficult time. He had to take the public financing, where where if you raise some money, the state will match it. it wasn't enough. Um, he doesn't have a lot of success raising money, and he is showing it this time. Um, Aisha's got $500,000 cash on hand. Calvin's got 300,000, a little over 300,000, unless he's been spending it. Um, Jolene had, I think, $430,000, something like that. Baker had 108,000. So they all drastically outraised him. That's a problem. He'd be a stronger candidate if he had money. He doesn't have money. So we'll see what happens. Maybe if he maybe if he could get some money and then hire some top flight talent, guys like Foxwell. Foxwell did a great job for him in the governor's race, but they ran out of money. That's the problem. Money, money, money. Let's go up to the upper left. And I like this picture of Jolene Ivy. Um, she's standing next to her father in the center. That's um, Joseph Stevenson, Joe Stevenson, Captain Stevenson. He's a war hero. He was a great guy. I used to see him at parties, and I'd get invited down to Ivy's, and oftentimes you'd see him sitting on a chair, and I'd go over and talk to him, and he was a real gracious gentleman. Um, he served in war. He made it up to captain, which was no small thing for a black man back in those days to make it all the way up to captain. That was a big deal. He got out, um, got his education, taught school with honor and distinction, and he's Jolene's father. Um, a lot of people pick on her because she's light skinned. A lot of people want to say, well, she's not black, or they say all sorts of stupid things, especially, well, I'm not going to blame anyone in particular, but let's just say some ugly stuff gets said. But if you knew Joe Stevenson, you'd understand the story. He and his wife had Jolene. It didn't work out. Joe took the child and raised her. And then, black stepmother. They lived in a black neighborhood. She was raised as part of a black family, going to black schools. Then some people want to doubt she's black. That's disgusting. People who spread those sorts of stupid rumors should be ashamed of themselves. She's a proud black woman and should be respected as such. In fact, we should respect all black women. In fact, just in case anybody missed it, isn't Aisha beautiful? People claim I say she's ugly. I didn't say she's ugly. You know, Aisha's a very beautiful, striking woman. And let's let's go on to the next one. Calvin. Well, we've pretty well gone over it. You know, armed robbery, drug dealing, womanizing, woman assaulting, taking illegal campaign contributions, and so much more. Is he taking envelopes full of cash? With There's a lot of speculation about that. You know, with his desires and proclivities, I'd be surprised if he wasn't taking cash envelopes. That's just the way it works. If you're willing to sell out your voters, you could make a lot of money on county council. And I mentioned about the campaign contributions. That's kind of shady. He got endorsed by Angela. He and Angela worked closely together for years. He always supported her. She didn't come out right away and endorse him. She just waited until he wasn't doing so well in the campaign, and then she came out and endorsed him. So Calvin was in the race and out of the race and in the race and out of the race, and his wife said he could run, and he came back in the race, and after a while, Angela felt obliged to endorse him, and nobody thinks he's going to win. I wonder if he thinks he's going to win. Well, he dropped out of the race like twice or something. He probably doesn't even think he's going to win, but he's got to spend that money. Oh, here's a train wreck. No, I'm not calling Aisha a train wreck. She's a very beautiful woman, as you can see from her picture. But let's talk about the train wreck in the upper left-hand corner. There we see an Amtrak train hitting a truck. Okay. Why am I pushing train wreck pictures? Because she took $5,000 from Northeast Maglev, who wants to build a high-speed train through Prince George's County in a highly residential area. She's going to have trains going through at 314 miles an hour. Now, that Amtrak train probably wasn't doing more than 45 to 50 miles per hour. When a maglev train in Germany had an accident, 23 people died, 10 were injured. See, that's the difference. If an Amtrak train crashes, it'll be one or two dead. It'll be 80 injured. But well, we saw with the maglev train, and that train was only going 120 miles per hour. Northeast Maglev wants to run them through Prince George's County at 314 miles per hour, which means if this accident happened in Prince George's County with a maglev train, it would shatter windows and spew debris and probably dead bodies a quarter of a mile easily on each side of the train. I mean, this is like a jet airplane flying into the World Trade Center multiple times a day. This is a dangerous situation. The people don't want it. They know it'll hurt their foundations. The sonic waves of air and the vibrations and the risk of injury and the risk of death. Um, Aisha took the money. She doesn't really give a damn about anybody. She just wants to be county executive. That's all she really wants. She was so jealous of Angela. Angela is so much smarter than she is. I don't want to say Angela's better looking, even though most people do, because see, I got criticized. Like that crazy lady called up and yelled at me, claimed I said Aisha was ugly. She's not ugly. She's a very beautiful woman, as you can see from her picture. And here we're going to close off the show with a mention of special election debate, February 5th, from the SCDC and the CAG chat. Um, Mark Mark Clark is going to be the special media personality moderator. Courtney Finkley Green, deputy treasurer of the great state of Maryland, will be a co-host, and Sherman Hardy from CAG Chat, whatever. Um, I don't think Sherman likes me, but he's okay. You know, like I don't want to pick on the guy. I think he's all right. And that's it for tonight. Thank you very much.